people are okay showing laughing in public, but not crying or grieving.
But even that, you can laugh, but don't laugh too loud.
Yeah.
Or are you being
Yeah.
unbridled in your happiness?
Yeah.
Taboo.
Today, we're talking about grief, not just as loss, but as a physiological process that shapes resilience, identity, and growth. What if grief isn't something to get over, but a biological process in your nervous system and your body, and something we all face all of the time because life comes with change and connection comes with the risk of loss. Welcome to Trauma Rewired, the podcast that teaches you about your nervous system, how trauma lives in the body, and what you can do to heal. I'm your co-host, Elisabeth Kristof, founder of BrainBase.com, an online community where we use applied neurology and somatics for trauma resolution, behavior change, and personal growth.
And I'm your co-host, Jennifer Wallace. I'm a neurosomatic psychedelic preparation and integration guide, and I bring your nervous system into your peak somatic experiences. Today, we are so excited to welcome back Piper Rose on Trauma Rewired. They are the founder of Shadow Play Coaching, as well as the Director of Operations and Continuing Education at NSI.
I also think, too, when we're talking about like feeling these sensations and it being quite overwhelming, there are a lot of research studies linking the social and emotional experience of grief to physical pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times those sensations are very uncomfortable. Things like rejection or loss or heartbreak activate actually the same neural pathways in the brain as physical pain. And so especially like the anterior cingulate cortex and the insular cortex. So when people say grief hurts, it's not just a metaphor, right? That is, we are feeling that ache in our body, and sometimes that ache is quite painful. And so I think there is a part that links us back to the physiological process of it as well, because I think we can also get stuck in pain loops with the suppression and repression of that grief. And I see correlations between chronic pain and the inability to move through that physical process.
Yeah, I think that that's a really important thing to note, that we have systems that our system is set up to both move through this process and also to inhibit the process if it's too dangerous, and consequences of that inhibition when it becomes repression, it creates a literal pain, something chronic, something present, something knowable and known in our body. And the pain that comes with grief, I think, can be confusing because when people then are used to that kind of pain that has become so hardened in their body, and then we encourage the body to emote or express, and grief is painful. It's physiologically painful. And so we become alarmed and we pull back and we say, oh my God, I can't take this. I can't go there. It becomes really scary.
Yeah.
And it can be hard to invite someone who's experiencing so much pain already to say, this is a pathway to potentially relieve that pain. But first you have to trust that this particular pain is informing you of the next thing that your physiology needs to alleviate that pain, whether it's crying, whether it's the incredible flood of oxytocin from someone holding you, or the actual mechanical decompression of a physical stance, a bracing you've been holding for so long. But it can be a hard sell to be like, I know you're in a lot of pain. How about some more pain? Let me pitch you that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, when you think about bracing already for someone who is a well-worn bracer, it's already complicated to understand that tension in the body. And then you almost double down because now you're really walling up to hold something in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're taught that so much too. It's not just from trauma backgrounds, but it's collective. I was watching a show the other day and the girl on it was crying and she was like, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so ashamed. It was like a tiny little tear, or describing it as ugly crying.
Ugly crying is what comes to
and
mind.
all of this, like, people are okay showing laughing in public, but not crying or grieving.
But even that, you can laugh, but don't laugh too loud.
Yeah.
Or are you being
Yeah.
unbridled in your happiness?
Yeah.
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 Taboo. Both of them are unwelcome, which actually makes another strange, like, meta layer of sense, because the more we can not let the conditions of life completely bind us to our happiness, when we know we can grieve, we can move things, we can change, we can grow, we can make meaning, we can reconfigure, right? We can survive love, then we actually do have an opportunity to welcome more of not just the sad, the despair, the pain that comes with grief, but we can welcome the bliss, the joy, the, like, absolute heart-filling power of love. And that actually, now I'm like, oh, there's another reason people don't want to grieve. Because when we, like, then come through the other side of that and, like, maybe even have a greater capacity and more fearlessness even to express that, to live life knowing how precious it is in the face of loss, then we're touching on a whole other taboo.
Yeah. I feel like crying right now.
Yeah.
Make sure to subscribe to this episode on our audio platforms or hit the little bell on YouTube to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss an episode, because we have lots of exciting conversations coming up, breaking down the science and the trauma of emotional health and nervous system resilience.